My name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995. Hi, good afternoon. It's this time of the day. It's Monday at 2:30. Welcome everybody who is listening to me, and also welcome everybody that's in the studio. And welcome Steve, my husband, who is back from being out of town. I'm happy to have you on my show.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Sally.
Okay, we're open to any questions. Anybody in the audience? I know that there's a few people here that are ready to ask me some questions, and we're here to answer your questions. Okay, and if there's anything you'd like to talk, I was just going to introduce you.
Before the first question, please call in at 888-994-4995, Studio A, if you have a question for Sally, and or you can reach her at callmezena1111@gmail.com. Sally, I just wanted to start by talking about yesterday. We went to a celebration of life for Lynn Everard, who was affiliated with the studio here, and a wonderful man, and working with you on your new book. And could you describe the atmosphere at the celebration of life?
It was amazing. That's all I can say, because I'm very happy because you are on your journey with me today, Steve. And we got so much what we call love in the room, which my program, I try to make it very positive, and I felt that Lynn, who was on my show many, many times, was still with us. So I'm happy that you were able to see some of the people that were his friends too, so you got some idea of where I'm coming from, which I know you have by now anyway.
Yes, and several people spoke, and one in particular talked about angels being around, and he was talking to angels as Lynn moved into transition.
And that's really good. I'm glad you brought that up, because Lynn and I had many conversations, because he is writing it will be published, so as far as I'm concerned, he's still writing the book. And we had many conversations about that, and we went into many, as you now know, previous lifetimes together. And I still very much feel his presence here. And I know, Dawn, you were yesterday at his celebration of life, and I felt very much with his presence. He got me and I got him, which we understood exactly where we were both coming from. So it was no coincidence that he became my editor, and we did 1 year of actually writing the book. And a week before he passed away, we had said we had finally come to completion of the book. That was not coincidental. As far as I'm concerned, anyway.
And you've always talked about your guide here on Earth, Aldo, and Lynn also had a connection to Aldo.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up, because very often in our hour and a half, 2 hours, we were meeting on a Friday at the cafe, he would say to me, and any of my viewers that are listening, they know about Adamir in my book, Aldo, was with me, and he used to say, as we were talking about many things that had happened about my life, he used to say, I feel that Aldo's presence is here. And from everything that I understand, to put this on a positive note, his transition, I absolutely feel that Aldo was there to meet him, because they had become friends. One was on the other side, one was here. But when he transitioned, he felt Aldo's presence, as he did when he was here.
As I feel Aldo's presence at home.
He's here right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open up, maybe we can open up to the studio. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Gary.
Hello, Sally. Wonderful to have you here. It's my first time watching you.
Welcome.
And seeing your gifts. I have, obviously, like a lot of people, a lot of questions about various things. And one of the things that's been on my mind was about my past lives.
Okay.
I'm sure I've had many. Is there a way for you to tap into any of that?
You know, as you were talking to me, and I pick up on past lives, I feel that you were, I'm going to say on a ship. I wanted to say, and I don't know anything about the Vikings, I really don't myself, but I feel that you were on a ship and I see you traveling somewhere. I don't know if you feel anything about this, and I'm not sure what lifetime this was of the year, but I feel very much that you are part of the Vikings. That's what I want to tell you. It came straight to me as you asked me that question.
Interesting. Well, I'm very much a water person, so.
Okay,
yeah,
there you
very
go.
much,
Yeah, I get a lot of validation.
Yeah.
So, yes, and I'm actually, and everybody knows that I'm very famous for my goosebumps. So, yes, that's why you like the water. Absolutely. You are on the water because the Vikings, and myself, I don't know too much about it, but they are telling me, yes, you would enjoy the water because that's part of a previous life that you were in.
You never
Very
cease
nice.
to amaze me.
Thank you, Steve.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you. I'm
That
glad
makes,
that I
that
was
makes a
able
lot
to.
of sense.
Okay, I'm very glad
Yes.
that I was able to do that for you. I see more, but right now we'll stay with the Vikings, okay? Now, if there's anything else, I know that you maybe want to ask another question. I feel that you do, but I may be wrong.
Well, should I keep in this same vein, or?
Yes, you can, absolutely. And then we'll.
Anything you want.
Oh, okay.
I just
'Cause
feel
it-
that they're telling me that there's another question that I feel that
Well,
you might want to
I
answer.
mean, we all have multiple past lives, I believe, anyway. So that one goes back, evidently, 400 or 500 years, whatever, 600 years, whatever it would be. Can you get anything else in terms of past lives from me, or?
Right now, that's the prominent one. I feel that. Do you paint at all? Are you an artist in any way? Do you draw?
Not at all.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that maybe you should even read books on the ocean. I don't know. I'm getting something about ships. Okay. Again,
Okay.
it's maybe because that's who you were in another lifetime. But I
Okay.
think that it would be very, very beneficial for you to look up a little bit of this.
Interesting.
And I think
yes.
you'll be able to relate to it. That was the answer that I'm getting from them.
Okay.
Yes, pursue this a little bit. Pursue it.
I will. Very, very interesting.
Great.
I'll leave you one more question before I
Sure,
move on to-
that's fine.
I'm aware of we have guides and so forth. Can you perceive any messages coming to me from anywhere?
Well, yes, we do. And this is actually maybe the topic for today is guides, because my niece is also calling in from Michigan about guides.
Okay.
We have several guides, but we have what we call a main guide too. And I'm getting the answer that, and I know that you're aware of this, Gary, and it wasn't coincidence that you just came back from a seminar,
Yes.
right? That you should talk to your guides, because we don't just have one, we may have 3 or 4, but they're very happy that we have actually made this connection. That's what I'm feeling. For me to be able to tell you, you were in the right place when you went on your travels to the place that you went to, which was the Monroe Institute. It was part of your journey. You were guided to go there, and your guides are with you very much. And the fact that you're even able to, we're able to communicate about this, they want me to tell you that just ask them. There is one particular one that just gave me the message about the Vikings, actually, that you continue, just like we're talking now, talk to them and they will guide you. But there's one in particular that's working with you very much now, okay? So you can do it on your own, you can do it with people, however you feel comfortable. But, maybe as you're going to sleep at night, just say, am I on the right track of what you are doing? They will give you the answers, and many will come in dreams from you, as you're aware now because you just came back from there, that you will get your answers in dreams.
Sally,
Thank you.
I have a very strong fear of bridges. I have a feeling that maybe I drowned it or something in another life or something.
drowned?
I don't know. I always been afraid
Fear
of
of
bridges,
bridges.
even since I
Oh,
was little.
bridges, okay.
Bridge, yeah, a bridge. Yeah.
Okay, I can relate, funnily that you're bringing that in right now. I've had numerous dreams of going over bridges, and I go up, and I feel very strongly that maybe, I'm not sure, and I need to have more information from them, that we were connected in a lifetime, okay? Because I have dreams, and not that long ago, I had a dream of going up a bridge and coming down again. And I was terrified. And I do not like going underwater. So I don't know if this relates to you, but we became very connected from the moment that you walked
Yeah,
into
we did. That's very
just to
possible.
let viewers know that you are in the studio right now. There is a connection. So I feel that it's something to do with actually both of us drowning. The fact that I even told you, and I mentioned water right now, something to do with water is coming through very strongly. But remember, we learn from our previous lives, so it's not a negative in any way, but we will have various things that come up. Like if I go underwater, I get very scared. The reason is that maybe I actually drowned in a previous life. Well, we've had many lives, but I believe there's a connection there with the bridge. I'm not sure myself.
And we went to Key West once on those little bridges. Oh my God, I thought I was going to die. They're right on the water and they're all little. Oh my God, it scared the hell out of me.
Very similar to what I relate to, but I don't like I have a fear of heights. So
do
I
too.
don't like going
I do
up
too.
higher. And it wasn't, and I even mentioned to you, Steve,
the
I
bridge at
think.
Tampa Bay.
Yes, and I said to
have the
Steve
same thing.
that I had this feeling of going up the bridge and down again, and I was terrified. This was in my dream. So this is all connected in some way. I'm not sure myself right now, but I feel that there's a connection. I only mentioned that to you a couple of weeks ago, right? That I was going up this bridge. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, anybody?
I guess I can.
Hi.
Hello. So this is pretty much work related. What do I look forward to as far as
I can't hear.
the last 4 months of this
A
year?
little bit louder.
As far the last 4 months of this year, as far as like with work, because even just thinking about it right now, I'm getting anxious and my eye starts twitching. So
Okay.
trying to figure out what should I look forward to or pay attention to.
Okay, your messages you're getting is when your eye starts twitching, if that makes sense to you, okay? Remember that. I'm not necessarily going to say it's a negative that you shouldn't go along with it, but the reason your eye is twitching is that they're talking to you. So when you get that message of that little twitch, talk to your guide, talk to somebody that you feel comfortable with, and they will give you the answers. It doesn't necessarily mean you're on the wrong or right track, but they're with you. And that eye twitching is very important. I'm very glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, because
feel
that was going to be my second question as far as like with superstitions. Like I know like when people say like your palms itch, that's money, but it's always
No, you're
the
getting it from
eyes.
your eye twitch.
Yeah.
Definitely. That is not, be aware of that, okay? And it's good because they're with you. So when you get that twitch and you're not sure, you're at like a crossroad, which way should I go? Ask that question when your eye starts twitching, okay? Okay, that was interesting.
Yeah. I just want to make sure it wasn't like anything health or
No, it's okay. It's fine. You may not like the answer, but listen. Go, and how you listen is you go with your first, your first inclination of the message. So if you suddenly say, I shouldn't do that or I should do that, go with it, because the fact that you're getting the twitching is meaning you now know they're with you. So go with your first thought, which I often I talk about that. Go with your first feeling.
they must
your gut
really get
feeling.
in my attention a lot lately because it
Great.
seems like it's every day.
Great. Okay, they're with you every day. Okay, that's a good sign.
Sally, as you know, I have family all over. I have family here in New York, in Okinawa, in New Zealand. Is there some mystic circle that keeps us together?
Your family?
Yes.
Well, we're all connected, Steve, and as you know, and I haven't actually brought this up on my show, and Aldo is not here to validate this, but he's here to validate that he knows that I did this. I was getting Okinawa, as I have told you, before we met. And when you told, I just was getting the name. I said, is something going to happen there? I had no idea. And he didn't come through with the message. However, when I first met you, you told me that your grandson and his wife were in Okinawa, and now they've since had a baby.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm trying to put that together because I honestly thought that there was going to be a problem in Okinawa. I don't know. I kept getting it. This is before I met. I now know that it was a positive.
Yes,
And that's
yes,
the
it
reason
was.
that it was just a little validation. As far as your family from everywhere, we're all connected. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we all understand this, but we're all going on the same track. There may be people, it's a little difficult to answer because it's your family and myself, but we're not always ready, okay? And as you're aware of that. So anybody that's listening, and this applies to anybody, if they're interested in what I'm saying, I'm talking to a lot of people, and not everybody gets it. But it doesn't mean that we won't get it, but it could be in another life. We have to be ready. I believe that you came into my life and you were very ready. We met 23 years ago, you were not ready.
No, I wasn't.
So we didn't talk for 23 years, okay? But when the 23 years are up, you came into my life and we got married. So obviously you were ready, okay?
23 and me.
23, and yeah, that's our ancestors,
But
okay.
as you know, we're going to get to meet my great-grandson, our great-grandson, early next month. And that day there will be 4 generations of my family in one room. I'm absolutely, just amazed by the fact that there could be 4 generations. What can
Well,
you share with us about
Going
that?
into on the spiritual level, yes, the fact that you're aware of it, it doesn't mean that every member of your family is going to be aware of that, and that's okay. I have to understand, and this is important for me, and it might be a lesson, that someone is not necessarily interested in my message. Does it change my message? No, it doesn't change it for me, but I have to let that go because not everybody is interested in what I'm talking about. It might be the next life, it might be... What my main reason for you asking this question and for me answering is the fact that we are. So we don't have to worry about someone that's not ready. And I myself have to understand that too. I can't make people understand. I can only give my message by example. And for the ones that pick that up, great, because I'm doing my job. As you saw, because I met my niece, who hopefully is listening to this program right now, who is going to call in, who was more than happy to answer, to call in and ask questions. So I can relate more to that. My job is done if I give my message. It's up to the people then to understand what I'm talking about. I can't make anybody... just as my viewers, they might say, what in the world am I talking about? That's all right. They're not necessarily ready. It might be tomorrow. It might be another lifetime. I can only go by example of what's happened to me.
But my question was more along the lines of how special 4 generations in one room will be.
Yes, that's special, and we don't always have that opportunity, Steve. But, we have a wide view of people listening who may not be able to have that opportunity. So take that as a positive that you're able to do that. On a spiritual level, it's great. But for people that have not been able to do that, it's great that you're able to do that. And that's all I can really say on that.
Yeah, I'm over the moon about it.
Good. Do you have anybody else with any questions?
I know from reading, like I said, you've done a lot of
Right.
things in the past that when you come into a life, you know where you're going, you know the whole lifetime. And then they say that the angel makes a little indentation in your lip so that you don't remember. But
Right.
when you pick it, why would people come in and pick, like, to have cancer or to be a murderer? Why can't they pick one? I mean, I don't understand that if you have a choice.
Sandy, thank you for that question, because of course I have also, said to myself, why does this happen? But we learn a lot. We come in, and my way of saying this is we come in with a different costume every time we come in.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a good life, it could be a bad life, whatever we call. There really isn't that much distinction between good and bad, but that's how I see it. But we come here to learn, and that's the most important,
But
and
if
to
we've
give
already
love.
learned, why would we want to come back as a
We
bad
don't.
person?
I might say, and
Be
I
on another
don't.
a higher level, I would think.
Perfect. That's great, and I'm glad that you're asking that, because I have touched a certain amount, but I'm the lot, and people that know, I do not have an ego about this to say I know everything. I know that much.
Right.
So when I come back, my choice right now is to remember what I'm talking about now, so that when I come in on the dimension that I'm in, that I'm able to pass this on. So my job here is to show people by example what's happened to me. Do I expect everybody to understand that and just what we're talking about? No, I can only give my message. I can give my message of validation of what's happened to me. If you choose to believe it, great. If you don't, I have to understand that you don't. But I have to pass that on. We come in, we forget most of the time. I brought in my guide who came in specifically to look for me. I was very blessed that I had that, and he came in later in my life because I was not ready. We call it wake me up a little bit. I was not necessarily ready, but he came in at my life when I was ready because I was obstinate. They had to show me that I could draw. I also had to show that I was drawing from other lifetimes. As a child, I never believed in reincarnation. Today, I'm 110% a believer in that. So we all are on different stages of our journey. But if we begin to open up, we will see things happening. My motto is there is no coincidence. There is no coincidence. And I believe and I see you, and I love the fact that I can see you, Gary, because you had just come back from where you are. Nothing is coincidental. But I don't expect everybody to understand that. But as you're beginning to open up, and as I am too, because I'm going back more into my lifetimes, I'm going back into this lifetime. We're writing a movie about my life here, that I'm seeing that it was a gradual process, and I'm beginning to remember so much more. And I feel blessed that I'm able to do this. I also feel blessed that I have this show that I can pass it on. Maybe there's 10 viewers that might say this is great. There may be another 10 that go, leave me alone with this. But at least I'm opening up people's minds a little bit. It's up to them to continue their journey, not up to me to make it happen.
So would you say that at this point in time in your life, you've made it to a higher dimension, and when and if you come back again, you'll start at that higher dimension?
That's my hope, Steve. I absolutely do believe that, because Aldo, my guide who was here, and you know very much about Aldo, he told me we never lose what we learn, but it's up to us to bring it back into another lifetime. Sometimes we may say, as you know from the 15th century, when I was a very prominent person, I'd had enough of all the responsibilities. So I actually came into other lifetimes after that, not remembering this. It was dormant, it never left me. But in this particular lifetime, with Aldo's help, who came in, and I didn't know what he was talking about in the beginning, but I had too much validation to just disregard that. So this was a lifetime again from the 15th century to now that I chose to understand this. He said to me that I'm still not quite where I was at the 15th century, but I'm very nearly there. I knew everything I'm talking about, but it doesn't leave you. It goes into what he called a super consciousness. So it's there, but it's up to us to bring it back.
So to bring Sandy's question back into the mix here, so the people that are murderers and people like that, perhaps never did learn, and they came back in a lower dimension.
Well, yes, it's a difficult question because people, I can answer it. It may take a little while, but we choose our lives. And we choose to play many different characters. So when we choose that, and karma is different. People say karma is what is done to you is now you're going to do it to someone else, or vice versa. That's not always the case. It's our choice because we have free will. So if we choose to do that, so let's say someone, and it's a very difficult topic because someone was a murderer, let's say, in the last life. Does that mean he's going to be, or she, a victim in this life? Not necessarily, because we are here to learn. It might be on the next life, or it might be the life after. But we've played many, just like a movie, we're characters here. I talk about the illusion a lot. I don't expect people to understand that. But I've had a lot of help in this lifetime to reignite what I already knew. So again, in answer to your question, it's a lot of soul searching. Let's put it like that. If someone is a murderer, then that's what they are,
I think if you did something like that, it's a learning experience. You
Exactly.
have to go through a class, and you have to learn to get to another level before you even come back.
Right, exactly.
And there's a lot of, you don't know how long you're going to be there.
We don't just stop in this lifetime. We continue when we go over into the other side. We're still learning.
Right.
We don't stop. So we have people that talk to us on the other side, that see where we're going when we come back, that advise us. However, the main thing of what I need to say here is we still have free will. So whatever we have planned to do doesn't necessarily, they watch us. And that comes in with our guardian angels, or whatever you want to call them, our guides. They're here, but there is a certain, what I understand today, that they don't interfere with us. They can give us messages, they can show us, even by premonitions, but it's still up to us and our soul's journey and to where we're going. And I've learned, I'm understanding so much of that today. As a child, no. I mean, I would hear things, but I didn't understand as much because I've chosen to wake up as much as I am in this lifetime. I'm sure I've got plenty more to learn. But my message is to pass this on by example.
Hey, Sally.
Hi.
I've been feeling anxious a lot lately. I wanted to know what Ishmael has to say for me.
And I love the fact that you're bringing him in because I got his name. And what is so very beautiful about that is that he's on the other side who gave us both the same name, and that's your guide. Now, he's still giving you messages, okay? But you go with your own intuition. The fact that you're feeling nervous is that you're at a crossroad on that particular subject that you're talking to him about. He's showing you that he's here. He's aware that you're getting nervous, but follow your intuition. This is really important. You're getting a lot of messages. You know you can do this. From our shows, you know that by now, okay? So go into yourself and feel what is, especially when you're getting the nerves, feel what may be comfortable and continue with that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Good. Hi, Gary.
In between what you told me a few minutes ago, I had another thought. You mentioned the Vikings, so that was
I mentioned, yeah, Vikings.
about the Vikings. Obviously, that was quite a while back. Does that necessarily mean that I had a transition from there till now, or I've had other lifetimes in between that period?
You've had other lifetimes in
Okay.
between, absolutely,
Okay.
100%. But that one had a message for you.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to, maybe the fact that you said you like the water, that
Yeah.
is related to that. They were validating that, I think partly because you know that you love the water, so it made more sense to you to understand that. That was the validation that this is real, what I'm saying, that you were that time and that part of your life, you were a Viking. So you said to yourself, okay, I love water. There may be something else coming up that could be a completely different thing in another lifetime, but that was validation for you. That was
Very
the
good.
reason that we
Okay.
touched on that.
Thank you.
I never really ask you this, but do you hear anyone around me offering messages to me, and what message might they be offering?
Oh, you'll have several people around you, especially since you've met me, okay? They're going, okay, we can give him messages now because I'm just an instrument to answer these questions for you. You have several people around you, Steve. And I'm aware of some of the people that have passed that have been very dear to you in your life. And so I'm aware of that. But yes, they're always there. And I believe, although we have not talked about this, that you're getting a few dreams recently. I feel that some of the messages are coming through you in dreams because they're aware that maybe I can't necessarily interpret your dream, but we can talk about it and you can say, this is what I've dreamt. And I feel that they're telling me that this is very important for you. So when you have a dream and you wake up and it's still vivid, please let me know and we'll go from there,
I
okay?
will.
That was an important message, actually. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll take a commercial break. Okay, I'll see you back in a few minutes. Thank you, everybody. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back. Thank you.
This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena.
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybernard.com today. Now, back to the show. Hello? Hi, we're back. Nice to see everybody again. Any questions in the studio? Anybody calling in? 888-994-4995. And my husband Steve is still sitting here. So okay. Okay. Anybody in the audience, or Steve, or a call in? Hi, Dawn.
Tell me about Elizabeth. What does she have to say?
Elizabeth, and she wants you to say emphasis on the Beth. This is very important. Very important.
Sorry, Elizabeth.
She doesn't leave you. She's watching you. She's very intrigued with everything you're doing, Dawn. As my guide is, and okay, I'm getting a nice message here. Your Elizabeth is friendly with someone on the other side that was my guide. Actually, I'm getting a name, which is, this is strange because the name is Sarah. So there's someone on the other side, a Sarah and Elizabeth are talking, and we relate to that name, okay? They're together and they're talking, and they are helping us in every single way that they can. They're giving us messages. It's still up to us to understand what they're saying.
Well, I'm trying to get grant money in for continuing education for our producers. Do they have any suggestions on what type of grant or how I should be looking for this?
Do your research, because they're helping you with the research that you're doing. Okay, so if a name, and I'm not getting a specific name, but they don't necessarily want you to know that, but just to know that you're on the right track. So if you're getting a name or a grant that you feel very interested in, they will guide you and let you know if you're on the right track. Because the reason they're not doing that is it's still up to you. But you're going to get 5 or 6 that you're going to be very interested in that will be of help. I'm feeling one is the arts, actually. Without me going, they don't necessarily, because they don't want to sway your opinion or your feeling, but you will feel it, Dawn. But one is definitely the arts. They are going to give you grant money, for sure. But we'll address that a little later on, okay? We'll come back with that question. Then they're kind of going like this, I don't know why.
So I had a dream last night that my daughter was friendly with a gentleman who has a little boy.
Okay.
And she says to someone who said, is he coming to this party? Are we going to meet him? She says, I don't know. He's got to take care of his son first. What do you think that means?
I believe that she is, again, this is not to tell her this, but you know this. She is going to meet someone with a son. And we had a few seconds just now that you had mentioned this to me. The son is going to be, he has blonde curly hair. And I had mentioned his name. I don't know if you want to bring that up because it's for her to, I don't want her to be swayed in any way, but the name I gave you is who his son is going to be there. He is a soulmate. He is her partner, but it may not materialize necessarily in this lifetime. He may come back in another lifetime, but what they will have is a friendship.
Whether it develops more, that's up to them, but they'll have a connection immediately. I feel that they're going to meet, and it's coming through to me more strongly now. It's a get together. I'm feeling like it's a party, and they will lock, they're saying eyes together, okay? And they will both feel a connection. Where that's going, I'm not sure, but they definitely will become friends.
What do you think about dreams? You think dreams are premonitions?
If you remember it, this is what I felt that happened to me. This dream you're remembering. We have many dreams that we don't, but when it becomes more like I remember every part of this dream, maybe from a week or even a year ago, we're there. We're getting that premonition. We're getting what we're meant to hear. I had a dream last night. I couldn't tell you what it's about. But when I traveled, I can tell you, even from 18, 20 years ago now, I can tell you every aspect of that dream because I was there. I can't remember last night's dream because it was insignificant, let's say.
And what do you think about these wildfires we had in Hawaii?
Oh my God.
Did they give you any information?
Just, what I have said before, and it's so sad, and it's so sad the way that people have passed in these wildfires. We need to wake up. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to understand what we're doing. We need to, if we get an idea that, there's a lot of greenery and there's buildings nearby, we need to look at that. We need to go into more of what we're doing to understand. Can I talk about all those poor souls that have passed? And of course my feeling is, I don't even want to say, but we have control of where we're going, so it could have been their choice, but I'm not about to say that because people have lost loved ones, and it's sad, and I respect that. But we need to wake up more to what we're doing, where we're building, of what we're doing as far as the weather is concerned. It's a wake-up call. Unfortunately, we've lost many people because of that. But just wake up to the reality that we are just a small planet, in this big universe. Let's take care of our planet. Let's look for what could happen before it happens, basically. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but Maui is one of the most beautiful islands, and what would make the volcano? It has nothing to do with litter or anything like that.
As far as I know, it was basically the wind of maybe a hurricane that spread it so fast.
Yeah.
But not to get into this, because I feel really bad. What we can do is just, pray for those souls because they passed very fast.
Yeah.
And when you pass fast, you're not always sure what happens. Just protect them and send them to the life. My feeling is we come back, so let's pray for them, send them to the life. I'm sure we hear of more that have passed, but it's the families here that are hurting. They lost their loved ones so fast. To get out of that was a tragedy. It was just like we've had before. Let's go back to 9/11 with those souls that just had to jump out of windows. They had to jump into the ocean, but they are okay from everything that I know. But it's the ones they leave behind. But also send them, say a prayer to send them to a light, to go to another place right now, because they're like confused a little bit.
Hey Sally, would you say the aliens are angels in disguise?
Some of them, yes. I like that question. Not every one of them, because again, I'm not going to touch on the negative because I try to make this, my show positive. But and we need that balance for good and bad. It's a game we're playing, but a lot of the aliens here are definitely here to help us. I know not everybody says that, but I feel that they are here to help us right now, to protect our planet. They're coming in from wherever they are, from another planet, to save our planet. And I'm hearing the word save our planet very, very loudly, okay? They're here to help us. Don't be scared. I mean, they're walking amongst us. We're gonna have more validation of this, but we've got to do it, as they call it, a soft disclosure. So we have to do this quietly. Well, not quietly, but we have to do it. We have to disclose this, okay? They're here to help us, most of them. Not every one of them, but most of them.
Don't you think the government should let everybody know what's going on? I mean, that's what makes everybody crazy.
That's a good question, Sandy, but on the other hand, We have to look at it like if they suddenly come out, and they're disclosing it right now, and this is a topic very dear to me right now. They're slowly what we call a soft disclosure, because if they came out with everything that they know, and there are many people that know about this, there's going to be tremendous chaos here. They're going, well, and we saw an example of that. Not to make light of this, but there was someone in an airplane, and some lady said, "Oh, look at that lady."
yeah.
Or that, I'm not sure if it was a man or a lady. They're not real. It's AI. So we have to be very careful. We cannot have mass hysteria.
Yeah,
But I'm glad they're opening up to
To
it.
my understanding, aliens came here originally to save their planet.
Yes, they did.
So would it be any wonder that they might be trying to help us save ours?
I love that. I love that question, and I love that you've come that far, Steve, because when I first met you, if I had mentioned this to you, you'd go, what are you talking about? But the fact you answer me that question is very important. They're coming here to save our planet, to save their planets too, because what we put up into the atmosphere is also going to affect their planets. So they're watching us. We are here. It's kind of like they're watching what's happening to us because they want to protect us. However, again, my show is very positive. If anything does happen to this planet, we still have somewhere to go. We're still going to come back. But we've worked so much on this planet, and we're here. We're a comparatively new planet compared to a lot of the other ones. Like technology and AI, I believe, and I mean, there are people watching this show that might think I'm nuts, and that's okay. But they know what's going on, and they're giving us advice as far as technology goes to help us here.
So you mentioned that you're proud of how far I've come. In the growing of our relationship, we checked every single box that needed to be checked, but had one box been left unchecked, and that's the box where I might not have accepted you and your beliefs and had a desire to grow in that fashion, we might not be together today. Is that correct?
Well, that is very true. But we can't really go into that because we are together. So just to let you know that we checked every box. You were not ready. I wasn't ready 30 years ago. Alda came into my life and made me very aware of this. It's all what we call, and this is another program that we could do on timelines, but our timelines, and this is what I'm feeling, and I'm telling you this just from now, I'm just feeling that. Our timelines crossed right now. We were together in this timeline. To go into this, and we'll have to do it on another show, we may not have been together, and this is going to sound weird, we may not be together in another timeline, but this is our timeline for us to learn and grow. I can talk more about that, but that's another long show.
Do you think souls that don't resolve differences in this lifetime will come back again and deal with the same thing?
Yes, they do, absolutely. But it might not be the next lifetime. It could be a couple of lifetimes from now, because we all come in with what we call a soul family, which I know that you're aware of, Dawn, and we meet up. But having said that, there are still people from our soul family that are in spirit, that may be our guides today. But we ultimately have the last word. So we take into what we're doing in this lifetime and how it may lead us to somebody else. But without understanding this, we can choose a different path. But once we begin to understand it, we follow the path of what we have chosen, if that makes sense to you. Because we talk about our life before we come in. We have many of our soul family here to guide us from somewhere else. So they'll try to put us things that we're meant to do into our life. They cannot necessarily interfere, but they are there to help us. So if we're doing something, let's say I'm planning to do a movie on my life, I can ask my guides, I think this was the time that I'm meant to do this. Help me now with this. They can, as long as I ask. They can't say to me, you're doing a movie and this is the way it's going to be. I have to say the way it's going to be, but the fact that I have said I want a movie, yes, they'll make that happen, because I chose, this is just coming to me, I chose this before I came in. I'm getting older in this lifetime, but I would like to spread this message to people, so there it will be on a movie. So they answered my question, but I was ready to listen. Not everybody is. They're not always aware that they're around us. if that makes sense. I won't remember any of this later on, so please let me know.
Someone mentioned yesterday when you move your hands like that, that's a message of, I guess, almost hand signals or sharing light.
I'm glad you brought that up because because I don't remember and I am in a trance, I'm aware that I'm here. I use my hands a lot, which you had told me. I do not talk like this in my everyday life, but I feel, obviously, and you certainly have noticed this, and you too, that this is their communication with me too. I'm doing that now, and I am in my trance. They're showing me, and now I'm aware of it, that I'm doing that. But it's more validation for me too, because I don't usually talk this way, do I?
No.
No. Okay.
What do your guides say? What is that message?
From
By using your hands, are you sending out other messages?
Okay, from what they said yesterday, some lady who understood this a little more, I'm not exactly sure. She said it was like
Like a light language, she said.
like a light language.
Like an SOS, like you're
Yes.
calling, yeah.
I am not, and even today, right now, I'm aware that I'm doing it because you brought this up. But they're coming to me. It's my way of validating, actually, to my viewers that I am where I am right now.
I'm bringing the messages to you.
I'm bringing it to me. Now, as you know, I have no idea when this show is over what I've discussed. I don't know. But we will listen to a recording, and then segments of what we're listening to will come back, not the whole show. This part will come back to me if I listen. I know I'm not aware I move my hands, but I am. I know that.
You know, a couple of times during the show we've talked about guides, and last night we had a phone conversation with your niece Vicky, who was hopefully going to call in today.
Yeah.
I guess that it's getting towards the end of the show. So if you will, I would like to ask you the question she was going to ask you, and that is, how do we find our spirit guides?
Okay, yes, and if Vicky she'll play the recording back. Maybe she wasn't able to do this right now. In answer to her question, which you have just asked me, how do we
Find our spirit guides.
Okay, they're there with us, Steve, and if you're aware that they're with us, we ask for them. We might not necessarily know their name, as you now know your name of your spirit guide. I can sometimes not always bring their name through. Just be aware, just like you're talking to a friend. You maybe you pick up the phone and say, "Hi, I have this problem. What way do you think I should go?" And they will answer. We can interpret that as the way that I do too. It's like intuition. You'll hear them say this. So listen if you're ready. Not everybody is, but hopefully my audience that's listening now will be aware of that. Go with your gut feeling, which I have often talked about, and they will answer it. We might question that. I don't want to do that. But just know that they're helping you. We still have our free will. So that was a very, very important question, actually.
Sally, what about, when you think about ghosts, they don't want to leave their areas because they instantly died or something and they don't know how to go to another planet.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I don't often talk about that.
Because I do definitely
But
believe in
from
them.
what I understand, and when this first happened to me, I was getting many dreams of children coming to me. And I actually saw these children. I don't see as much as what I hear and I can sense, but in the very beginning I was getting all these children coming to me, and I was told, not coincidentally, by somebody who understood more. I understood it, but I wasn't aware, and this wasn't Aldo. This was actually shortly before I had met him, but he didn't explain that to me. It wasn't coincidence that he told me they were what they call earthbound at that point.
Right.
So now obviously many years later, I understand that they need to go with what we say, going to the light. Okay, so as we do that, if you should feel that, or you feel the presence of someone continually, not just one time, a few times coming to you, the best way is please release yourself, because they're still hanging around us. Right. They want to make sure, and it's a good thing, because they want to make sure we're okay. But if you have a loved one, let's say, that has passed, and they're hanging around you at this point, you need to say, please go to the light, because we're stopping them continuing on their journey. This is really important to help them. But just know that you are helping them by saying, I'm okay. Even if you're not feeling that okay, please, I will be all right. Go to where you're meant to. And when they do that, they'll still come back to you. But they're not earthbound, so to speak.
Hi, Sally. Have the aliens told you what the meaning of technology is?
Well, that's a very broad question because technology, yes, it's to accelerate us. They're helping us. And actually, that's also a good question because I can't prove this, but if you think how far we've come in the last 50 years, have we done that, without help from someone? I believe that we've had help. They explain to us what we need to do. Do they come to everybody? I'm just going to wait for a minute for Bella to go. Okay, so I don't normally, vibrations are usually okay, but I feel that she's okay, she's fine. Okay, I'm sorry, just to explain this stuff. But as far as technology, for those that will listen, they will get the messages. We've often heard, and you know what I loved very much? I listened to many years ago about Leonardo da Vinci. Now he wasn't just an artist, he had many premonitions of machinery. Well, from what I know, and I listened to this many years ago because Aldo told me to, I think it was called Da Vinci's Demons, and it explained a lot to me of what was happening. He was getting these messages. He actually, as far as I know, but don't quote me on this, but I believe that he disappeared for a while and came back with a numerous of technology that he had. But that still continues today. We were just talking about what was his name? I'm sorry. Jobs.
Oh, Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. I can't tell you for sure, but he was way beyond his time to be able to do what he did. I believe that it comes to us. Einstein, we were talking, which we saw in the Oppenheimer movie. Einstein in the Oppenheimer movie. Oppenheimer also. I feel very, blessed that I saw that movie because I believed he knew a lot. So there are people amongst us that understand this. Aldo used to talk about Einstein, and one of the things that he said, that he was getting his messages from somewhere else, and I see a light, a very bright light here, is that it was just before he passed away that he suddenly said he was able to think as God did. And this apparently, I don't know how well known this is, but Aldo was very aware of that. He got it just before he passed. Now, has he come back? I don't know, but that does not leave you. We get it when we have in our time, our own time, when we're going to get it.
Sally, I got a question. I'm on the A5. I got a question for you. I did watch Oppenheimer yesterday, and it was very impactful. My question is really simple. The frequency of the world right now, the way it's going, up, down, or sideways, in your opinion?
All of the above, Freddie. It's up to us now. Can we control it? On a mass, I do believe we can. It's going all over the place because that's where we all are, all over the place. So if we concentrate very much, which I call sending out good vibrational energy, it reaches all of us, but not all of us understand that it's reaching us. So as long as we continue with positivity, with this terrible thing that's just happened in Hawaii, send light, send love. A lot of people that begin to understand that, as you saw yesterday when we went to Lynn's celebration of life, the love that was in that room. We have to put forth that love. It's very, very important. We often, and I'm guilty of this too, we talk about people that say we're spreading the love and they go, oh, but you know what? It's important to do this. So I'm sorry, can you just give me the end of that question again?
Do you think it's the frequency of the world right now is for the betterment, for the worsement, or is it even?
No, unfortunately the frequency is low, but we do have the ability to higher that frequency. And the more that we can spread this message, not me, I can't do it on my own, but I need everybody maybe that's listening that will open up a little bit to see the good that maybe we can do, or however we feel that we can contribute a little bit to higher this vibrational energy. We're all different. We all have different ways of showing this. But if we all come together, and I'm not saying that everybody, because it's not going to happen. I do believe that. We have free will. And there'll still be the people that will say, that's the way it is. But we can contribute to this by putting positivity out there. It's very, very, very important. They talk about the prayer in Mass, that it will happen. I believe that. doesn't matter what you believe, but just voice what you believe and say, help this world or help these people. We do that in mass, it's higher. It's making the vibrational energy a little higher, which we need.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Josh.
How's it going?
It's going good.
I wanted to get your thoughts on this one philosophy called Wu Wei, W-U-W-E-I, and it's the act of basically doing nothing and letting your body follow its course. What it's kind of saying is we already have this perceived timeline that we will follow, and it will correctly follow that course as long as you just don't do anything and you let everything take control of itself.
Okay, I have not heard of this, but my immediate reaction to that is it's a form of meditation. Okay, so if you're still within yourself and you get these messages, I'm not saying that you shouldn't follow through. I don't know anything about this, Josh.
It's just it's kind of a mindset.
Yes,
so
that's
instead
what
of
I'm
like
hearing.
striving forward something, your actual path is already set. So
Yes.
I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, basically.
Okay, I agree with that because we have planned out our life. But again, as I had just talked about a few minutes ago about free will, but if you listen through however you want to meditate, many people meditate in different ways. I have a different way of meditating, but I listen to what I kind of hear where I'm meant to go, so you can follow that. It doesn't mean that you, as far as I know, I don't know anything about this, but you're giving yourself a message, so to speak. So if I feel that I'm meant to take a certain path, I'm not going to just stay there. It's like, am I going to get someone to knock on my door that I want them to? No, I have to go out to meet that person. You still can follow that path. You're getting messages about your path, but I don't believe you should just sit there. I think action is important. So even if you just think about you're going out to do a certain thing, make sure that you think about that as you're going. And most of the time that will happen. But I believe you still need to make the action on that. That's just my thought of not knowing anything about it.
I agree with you, Sally, there very much. I mean, I'm certain that philosophy works for some, but there are many things that go on in your life that if you don't take specific action, you can go down a bad path. And I've always said, there are people that make things happen, there are people that watch things happen, and then there are people who sit around and say, what happened?
Right,
So
and I
have to
agree
be
with
proactive.
that. I totally agree with that. I might want, for people that maybe want to meet somebody, I met you, so I'm okay with that. But people that, you can't just necessarily sit at home, because is that person going to knock on, this is just an example, on your door? But if you go out and you make that little bit of effort and be aware that maybe someone that you're meant to meet will come to you, they're not necessarily, they can knock on your door, but I think you're helping yourself by going out in a crowd maybe, and that one person will be there. Because if you listen to where you feel that you might want to go, you're probably going to the right place. And you also might feel that you shouldn't go that way, and I've talked about that too. Don't go there. You're meant to take the other road. Very much is our intuition. We have all the answers. We just don't know we have the answers.
And should we have our eyes and ears open for every little thing, or is it just, like you said, just follow your gut and intuition?
Follow your gut, Joy. Follow your gut. Okay, I'm hearing that I only have 2 minutes, so
Thank you,
we'll talk
Sally.
about that on the next show, okay? But that was a very good question. Thank you for that.
Steve, you want to give out her information?
Yes, if you wish to reach Sally privately, it's Call Me Zena 1111 at gmail.com. And of course, next week, same time, same place, same station, 888-994-4995, Studio A.
He's amazing. I guess I can't do that. Thank you very much.
Where's my bell?
Yeah, we don't have a bell. Okay. Thank you. I'll see you all next week. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Okay.
Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.